Ultimately, the mission of Homes for Horses is to elevate the work of rescues and sanctuaries and provide resources to these organizations so that they can do the best work that they can for horses all around the country. So I'm Tessa, I live in Denver. I have a master's in animals and public policy from Tufts University, and I have a lifetime of the horse experience with all sorts of different kinds of horses. More recently is my wild horse experience. I'm training these two Mustangs right now. Little Iggy, who you can see is very happy with domestic life, and Peaches, who is taking a little bit more time. So I'm getting to know different Mustang personalities and those training opportunities for horses that are removed from the range, and what that adoption process looks like for new owners and the challenges that they face. And this here is the pony that really inspired me to get involved in rescue. She was rescued from a kill pen. This is Jersey Girl, and just rehabilitating her and working with her and seeing the incredible things that she's gone on to do. She's still in an incredible adoptive home now, like 20 years later. So she's a fabulous girl and really inspired the work that I do today. So Homes for Horses was started in 2007. It's an initiative, like I said, to support rescues and sanctuaries, focusing on collaboration and continued learning within the rescue world, to promote professionalization of equine rescue and protection. Our steering organizations are the Animal Welfare Institute and American Wild Horse Conservation. So we work with both those organizations, elevate their priorities, and can activate our grassroots organization, for those advocacy initiatives and all those bills that we've been talking about yesterday and today, and I'm going to get into it a little bit more as well. So Homes for Horses has over 500 different member organizations around the country. I think right now we actually have 546, so we're super close to over 550, which is fabulous, located in different regions all around, and that network is made up of rescues, it's made up of sanctuaries, it's made up of advocacy nonprofits. So as we mentioned, they're not all wild horse specific rescues and sanctuaries, of course, but most of our organizations and most of our members end up intersecting with rescues or with wild horses or with Mustangs in some capacity in the work that they do. Even if they do focus on domestic horses and they focus on owner surrenders, those horses that come in may be Mustangs, whether they rescue from kill pens, like neglect cases, transitions, owner transitions. So all of our organizations, have some sort of like tangential hand in the off-range Mustang world, no matter what specific breed they focus on. And anyone can get involved, of course, in advocacy as well, and many of our members do that as well. So we're not an accrediting body, I will say that, but we do have some standards for all of our members that they abide by through their application. So all of our members have first right of refusal. That was something that was talked about a little bit. So horses that are adopted out, if they do adopt horses out, those horses, that adoption situation doesn't work out, those horses have the opportunity to come back to that rescue and have a safe home with that rescue for the rest of their lives. That's really important to preserve that protection for those horses and make sure that they don't end up in another bad situation later down the road. What else? The SAFE Act is super important to our organization. So that was, kind of the impetus of the founding of Homes for Horses. So to get equine rescues together, activated on the SAFE Act. So all of our members support the SAFE Act. Breeding of horses, different policies just to ensure high welfare standards of all of our member organizations. We also do reference checks. I call vets, I call farriers, just to make sure the organizations are up to those high welfare standards and presenting themselves for what they're actually doing. So I'm going to go through our mission and some of the work that we do and just provide some examples of that. So one of the main components of our website is our directory. So we have a listing of all of our members, and it's a really great resource for lots of different folks. You can search by state, find a rescue or a sanctuary near you. There are contacts on there, addresses, things like that, so that folks either, looking to volunteer, or they have a horse in need and they need to connect with a rescue in their area. It's a great resource for lots of different folks to use. Like I said, we have different standards for all of our members to abide by, and we have a basic guidelines publication that outlines those standards that all of our rescues and sanctuaries should be abiding by, and it's a great opportunity to kind of reflect on your own facilities, your own organizations. We have some checklists and some kind of review protocols that go along with that basic guidelines document that allow you or a veterinarian or an outside person to go through each part of your facility and rank it and find opportunities for improvement. So that's a really cool resource that we have. I know there's been some discussion as well about different sorts of sanctuaries, different sorts of rescues. I know, there's some talk about sketchy rescues, or maybe just rescues that don't align with your values. So some of the work that we do also focuses on providing advocates and providing donors with opportunities to find rescues that do align with their values and give them the resources to find an organization that they want to support, find the best place for their donor dollars to go. So we do have some of those resources as well, and just find that fit for individuals to either donate or surrender their horse to a rescue that aligns with them and they're going to connect with, hopefully for a long time, because that's the best kind of donor, right? We also have some research that we do along with Tufts University. Last year, we did a survey of over 100 different rescue organizations just to understand the challenges that rescues are facing at this time with the wild horses and burros, with the domestic horses, with the thoroughbreds in their care, and some of the gaps and opportunities for learning and for fundraising that are in their organization. So that was a great research project that provided some really great data for grantors and for supporters of rescues to know where the best places to support are. Like I said, Safe Act is one of our core missions. So all of our members support the Safe Act, and I do some lobbying on behalf of the Homes for Horses Coalition. And with all of our membership, I can speak on behalf of that membership and just say that almost 550 rescues around the nation support the Safe Act. All of these organizations are 501c3 nonprofits and can provide that elevating voice and bring everyone's voice together, because certainly lobbying is time consuming. Writing letters, takes up the most valuable resource for rescues, which is time. And we also can connect with different stakeholders through the Homes for Horses Coalition, like veterinarians that work in rescues and sanctuaries already and have that firsthand experience with horses that have come out of the slaughter pipeline or through neglect cases and are already involved in that community and want to speak up for equine welfare and for the Safe Act. So that's another great opportunity that the coalition can bring together. We've just talked a lot over this weekend about collaboration and how important that is. And so the Homes for Horses has a lot of, that's one of my favorite parts of Homes for Horses, is the opportunity to provide that connection for individuals, for rescue organizations, for different stakeholders within the community. On that same vein, in terms of lobbying and in terms of advocacy work, as I mentioned, we can lobby on behalf of our organizations, but we can also help support orgs in their own advocacy journeys. So I think last month we did a webinar with AWHC, with AWI, on lobbying for 501c3s and lobbying for equine advocacy organizations. So any resources that we can provide for rescues to make advocacy and lobbying more accessible, easier for their day-to-day lives, and just it can be kind of intimidating too, and lots of rules that can be hard to interpret. So providing that information, I think, is a helpful resource. I think that we can provide. Linda mentioned we met at our conference a couple years ago. That was in DC, and in addition to that conference and those learning opportunities, We also had a lobby day, so we had over 50 meetings on that day all around Capitol Hill with all of our rescue orgs and all of our members meeting with their members of Congress about the SAFE Act and about the issues that are really affecting them and affecting the horses in their care. We keep people up to date as best we can on legislative updates. So in our newsletter each month, we provide legislative updates about appropriations, about the latest letters, about where the SAFE Act is, where it is, and different bills that we're supporting, provide lots of opportunities to take action. We were talking a little bit about those click and sends. If you're looking for more click and sends, because I know everybody is, this is a good place to find them. So we can provide that really unique analysis of what's going on in terms of equine policy within DC through our lens. We work again with AWI and support those issues and elevate those in an accessible format. So some of our priority bills, I'm not going to get into these too much because over the weekend folks have dove into them already. SAFE Act, as I mentioned, is our main priority. And all of the rescues in our network that do adopt horses out place horses that have been at risk of slaughter or in transition in loving homes every single day. So there are homes for horses to find, there are placements, and there is support for these horses. Another issue that we haven't talked about too much in this room, which makes sense considering it's a wild horse conference, but I figure folks might be interested to learn a little bit about the PAST Act. This has been an issue that has been ongoing for many years. It's focused on specifically Tennessee walking horses and a few other related breeds. For folks who don't know, soring is an act wherein people put caustic chemicals along horses' pasterns, chains around those pasterns to then irritate those horses' legs, high stacks underneath their hooves to create this big flowing movement called the big lick. It's very strange to watch, and it only happens under these extremely abusive conditions. Using soring to achieve the big lick is actually technically illegal already through the Horse Protection Act that passed in 1970, but the Horse Protection Act needs improvements. At present, the industry kind of self-polices. We were talking about this a little bit in terms of COP, right? The Comprehensive Animal Welfare Policy. The BLM is the one who's evaluating themselves. You're never going to see those issues exposed. The same thing within Tennessee Walking Horse Showing. DQPs, designated qualified persons, are the ones who are policing, and it's effectively self-policing. Those DQPs can be within the Tennessee walking horse industry. Their buddies can be the ones who are showing. They can own these horses and participate in this behavior themselves. So there's lots of improvements to be made, certainly within the Tennessee walking horse industry, and the PAST Act is one way to help and make those changes. Some other bills that we support, we talked a bit about the SGO Act already. This photo at the bottom underneath the donkey is a photo that I took in DC. You can buy SGO in stores, in grocery stores. I found it in numerous stores in DC. So it's not hard to find. You can buy it on Amazon as well. If you are looking for another marketplace to support, eBay does not sell SGO. They prohibited that being sold on their platform. So that's a fabulous win. And hopefully Amazon would be next. HTSA is another bill that we work on. So HTSA is the Horse Transportation Safety Act. That would ban the use of double-deck trailers for hauling horses. So banning double-deck trailers is important as horses are not meant to fit in these trailers. They're designed for livestock that are much smaller, hold their heads a lot lower, and they can be extremely dangerous for both the horses hauling as well as other drivers on the road. So banning double-deck trailers is important. At present, horses are actually not allowed to be shipped to slaughter in double-deck trailers. The USDA has recognized that double-deck trailers are not appropriate transport for horses to ship to slaughter. But you can like drive to the rodeo in a different state in double deck trailers. So it's kind of, and they're banned in multiple states as well. So it's kind of counterintuitive that they are banned in some cases and absolutely recognized as inhumane for horses in some contexts, but not all of them. So that bill would kind of just close that loophole and the use of double deck trailers for horses. And then we talked about the Wild Horse and Burro Protection Act a little bit. All right. So I kind of already mentioned this, but one of the main missions of Home for Horses is to provide opportunities for collaboration. Just like the conversation we just heard, that was a fabulous example of, learning from each other, sharing the institutional knowledge of rescues and sanctuaries that work with wild horses and burros every single day. That knowledge is there, and folks want to share it, and they want to learn from each other's experiences and to commiserate, right? And just like talk about everything that goes on in the day-to-day rescue operations. So we try and provide those opportunities for connection. We have our conference, which is a great in-person opportunity, but we also have virtual opportunities, Zoom calls, things like that, and a member Facebook group where folks can ask questions, all sorts of stuff from, I have this horse and I need to find a replacement soon, to what sort of fundraising software do you like, to what sort of pest control do you use in your barn. So all of those questions that, are very niche sort of to this community, but it can be that sharing opportunity for information. Similar niche information, we have a comprehensive resource library on our website with lots of different stuff focusing on fundraising, volunteer management, disaster preparedness. So all sorts of stuff on there that folks can utilize to develop their rescues and support that nonprofit management, as well as some good stuff like listings of different grants that might be available, and kind of to bring all that information into one place and make it easier for folks to find. In that same vein of sharing information, we have lots of virtual events. So we have monthly webinars on a variety of topics, from Freedom Reigns, gave a wild horse sanctuary presentation, to grant writing, to how to be eco-friendly as an equine rescue, and advocacy ones, as I mentioned. So lots of different stuff. So definitely keep your eyes out for that if you're interested. Just hop on our website or on our Facebook or our newsletter, and we're always having different virtual events coming up. Facilitating homes and care for equines in need is certainly something that all rescues and sanctuaries do, and it's something that I do as well. I'll get emails from folks who are looking to place horses, and I can help facilitate those connections with the right fit for those horses. Or I can direct them, we talked a little about the STAY program and, Solutions to Avoid Intake, sort of a safety net program. So we have a directory of different safety net programs on our website. Those programs are critical for individuals who are going through short periods of financial distress, preserving that horse-human bond. We've heard a lot about how important that is and how much horses mean to all of us. If that horse is in a situation where their welfare is being considered and it's still a good home for that animal to live in, and the opportunity to keep them in that home as opposed to bringing them into a rescue that could have a spot for a horse that is in dire need is a good opportunity. So we have a directory of different orgs that provide short-term safety net solutions, whether that's hay, whether that's a gelding grant, things like that that people can utilize. We also provide a few different grants. So we provide an emergency grant for rescues for our members. We can take applications for emergencies like a natural disaster, an unexpected vet emergency, and we can just provide that short-term support to help rescues get through that situation, which is a great opportunity. We have a super exciting new grant that's funded by American Wild Horse Conservation, and this is our HHC Wild Horse Capacity Grant. So this new grant is intended to help equine rescues and sanctuaries expand their capacity for wild horses and burros while maintaining high welfare standards. So again, it's reserved for members, and it's open now, but it closes on July 1st, so you have a couple months to get acquainted with the questions and with the application. But this grant is intended to, as I mentioned, lots of rescues and sanctuaries do take in wild horses, but they might be able to take in more or better facilitate that process if they're not set up for potentially unhandled horses or, a quarantine, maybe they need 6-foot fences, things like that. So the grant is intended to kind of support those situations, facility improvements, maybe a trainer to help with gentling processes. So yeah, hopefully this grant can be helpful to folks, and we're super happy to be able to facilitate it and provide it to all of the rescues and sanctuaries that are already doing incredible work. And if we can help support that and elevate that, I'd love to do that. If you're a rescue or sanctuary and you're not part of HHG, definitely check us out. We would love to have you. I'd love to meet you and get engaged and talk horses and burros, of course. Mm-hmm. Engage your legislators, of course, everybody has said that. And then if you want to get in touch in person, we do have a conference, shameless plug here, in October in Denver. So if you like the conversation that happened before with all the rescues and sanctuaries and, discussing opportunities to better facilities and, just get connected with that community, definitely check out our conference. We will be having a fun on-site day and some days of learning in person all about these sort of topics and some advocacy opportunities. So we would love to have all of you guys there. You would fit right in. It would be fabulous to see some of your faces again. So thanks so much for having me. I will hand this back over to Linda unless anybody has any questions.
I was going to say, we talked a little bit about, is it there on, where you're talking about the rescues and you have the list of the different rescues, could there be like an icon or something that we could put in for that is if they're Mustang specific, or not just one Mustang, but that they're used to handling a remote capacity?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that has been something that I've been thinking about for a little while. We have an intern this summer, and I'm like, maybe that could be something she could do. So it would be great to be able to identify Mustang-specific rescues within our directory. It can be difficult, of course, to have everybody respond with over 500 people, but if we can start narrowing that down and allow people to search and filter by Mustang-specific rescues, I think that's a fabulous idea and definitely something that I want to do.
I also have a question. Does your organization or any organizations within your umbrella, under your umbrella, work, like for example, to help educate Amish community to respect their horses and not treat them as tools to use and abuse them, and to help other people to prevent them from abuse, to teach them not to abuse them and be cruel and be respectful, learn how to care for their horses in a way that they don't end up in the slaughter fight?
Yeah, that's a great question. There are certainly rescues that work in those communities and intersect and overlap with them. I don't know anybody specifically who is grassroots within those communities to provide education. If anybody does, certainly let me know. But it's an ongoing issue, definitely, in both the domestic and the wild horse world, certainly. So.
Loved your presentation. I'm asking about these scam rescues that people are so worried about. It looks like your organization does all the vetting, and it's kind of like the Better Business Bureau weeding out scam operations.
Hopefully.
How do you make that available for people to check an organization if they're a member of your organization, they know it's a good one? How can you make that available?
Yeah, so we do not claim to be an accrediting body like GFAS, Equus Foundation, Thoroughbred Aftercare. They're an accrediting body. They go out to facilities and get eyes on horses, on documents, things like that. We have an application process, definitely. I contact references, but it's like a first layer of kind of weeding out those organizations. So within our membership, you know that all of them have had those checks, but again, we don't claim to be an accrediting body in terms of that. But like you said, it can be kind of hard to find that organization that is a good fit for you. So I also try and just provide people with the information on making their own decisions on who they're going to fund, what sorts of programs they want to fund. So, that's on our website, but I'm certainly happy to make it available to anybody here as well. It's, has some questions to ask organizations and just some things to look for that can help you know the best fit for your dollars here.
I just wanted to make more of an endorsement than a question, really. Liberty has been a member of Homes for Horses pretty early on in our life cycle, and I would say the resources that you provide, be it in your newsletter or then when we follow up and we get on the Zooms, and you can pick and choose the things that are more relevant to the work you're doing or the problem you're having at that time, but it is a really fantastic place to be able to refer to and spend time with y'all, and also just the camaraderie between the rescues, like the roundtable was saying and kind of coming up with right there. You already have this established where people can, and sometimes it is easier when you're talking to a rescue in another state because you don't, you're having similar problems and there seems to be, more of an open book policy. People are pretty open about the information exchanged, and it's been really helpful. We also share it with some of our volunteers when you have, like, you had Steve Peters on, Dr. Peters talking about horse brain science, and that's something like really relevant to a lot of our group. It doesn't have to be rescue specific information that you're putting out there. So thank you for all that you do, Tessa.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm happy to provide.
So I'm just curious if you have any donkey rescues within your organization, and if so, do you provide any donkey-specific information about welfare? For example, the hee-haw, halfway horse, house for donkeys, has a good site about how donkeys are different, ditto, several others. So I'm just curious.
Yeah, there are definitely donkey-specific organizations within our membership, quite a few actually, and so it would be kind of fun to have more donkey-specific activities, whether that be as Zoom calls or collaborative opportunities at some point, like quarterly or something, just to get those folks engaged and in touch with each other. We've had some webinars focused on donkey-specific care as well. The veterinarian's name is escaping me right now, but with folks who are working, on the forefront of donkey-specific veterinary care. I think we heard a little bit about how, blood titers aren't specific for donkeys. They have horse numbers, and so being able to share that information, like Dev said, not just for rescues and sanctuaries, but for the broader community as well. All of our resources are free, all of them are posted online and can be shared. And so for furthering educational missions of rescues and sanctuaries, we try and provide those opportunities for education that can be shared further and hopefully to horse owners and horse interested folks to learn more and elevate welfare all across the country. Any other questions?
Awesome. Actually,
Thank you all for your attention, and thank you so much for the conference. This is so fabulous.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.